ladies and gentlemen, so to say. It's been suggested to my wife that I should present here today for a charitable cause, a popular lecture. Well, if I must lecture, I must. It's absolutely no matter to me. Of course, I'm not a professor. I hold no learned degrees. Yet, nevertheless, for the last 30 years, without stopping, I might even say to the injury of my own health and so on. I have been working on questions of a strictly scientific nature. I'm a thinking man, and imagine, at times, even I compose scientific contributions. I mean to say not precisely scientific, but pardon my saying so. They are almost into the scientific line. By the way, the other day, I wrote a long article entitled On the Harmfulness of Certain Insects. My daughters liked it immensely, especially the references to bugs. But after reading it, I tore it to pieces. Surely, no matter how well you write, dispense with Persian powder, you cannot. We've got bugs even in our piano. For the subject of my present lecture, I have taken, so to say, the harm caused to mankind by the consumption of tobacco. I myself smoke, but my wife ordered me to lecture today on the harmfulness of tobacco. On tobacco. Well, let it be on tobacco. It's absolutely no matter to me. But to you, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest you should regard my present lecture with all due seriousness, though treat it as something unexpected. But yet those of you who are afraid of a dry scientific lecture, who do not care for such things, need not listen, and may even leave. I particularly crave the attention of the members of the medical profession here present, who may gather from my current lecture a great deal of useful information, since tobacco, apart from its harmful effects, is also used in medicine. Thus, for instance, if you take a fly and you put it in a snuff box, it will probably die from derangement of the nerves. Tobacco essentially is a plant. When I lecture, I usually wink my right eye, but you must take no notice of it. It's through sheer nervousness. I'm a very nervous man, generally speaking, and I started to wink my eye as far back as 1889, to be precise, on the 13th of September, 1889, on the very day my wife gave birth to our, so to say, fourth daughter, Barbara. All my daughters were born on the 13th. In view of the short time at our disposal, I must not digress from the subject of the lecture. I must observe, by the way, that my wife keeps a music school and a private boarding school. I mean, is it not precisely a boarding school, but something in the nature of one? Between ourselves, my wife loves to complain of straitened circumstances, but she's put away in a safe nook some 40 or 50,000 rubles. As to myself, I haven't a penny to bless myself with, and not a sou. It's good dwelling in all that. In the boarding school, it's my duty to look after the housekeeping, I buy the provisions, I keep an eye on the servants, enter the expenses into the ledger, stitch together exercise books, exterminate bugs, take my wife's pet dog for a walk, catch mice. Last night, I had to give up flour and butter to the cook as we were having pancakes today. To be brief, today when the pancakes were ready, my wife came into the kitchen to say that 3 of her pupils would have none as they had swollen glands. So it happened that we had a few pancakes extra. What would you do with them? My wife ordered them to be taken to the larder. And then she thought for a while, and after deliberation she said, "You can have those pancakes, you scarecrow!" humor. She always addresses me like that: scarecrow, viper, Satan. You see what a Satan I am. But I didn't masticate them properly. I just gulped them down, for I'm always hungry. Yesterday she gave me no dinner. It's no use, she says, feeding you, scarecrow that you are. However, I have strayed from my subject. I have digressed somewhat from my theme. Let us continue. Though, of course, you would rather hear now a romance, or a symphony, or some aria. In the heat of the battle we shan't budge. I don't remember where that comes from. I forgot to tell you that in my wife's music school, apart from looking after the housekeeping, my duties also include the teaching of mathematics, chemistry, physics, geography, history, solfeggio, literature, etc. Oh, for singing, dancing, and drawing, my wife charges an extra fee. Although it was I who had the singing and dancing master. Our music school is located at number 13, 5 Dogs Lane. Probably why my life's been so unlucky. Through living in a house number 13. Again, my daughters were born on the 13th, and the house has 13 windows. What's good of dwelling in all that? My wife is at home at any hour for business interviews, and the prospectus of the school can be had from the host here at 6 pence a copy. And if you like, I myself can let you have a copy, each copy 6 pence. Anyone like a copy? No? All right, make it 4 pence. How very annoying. Yes, my house is number 13. And I am a failure at everything. I have grown old, stupid. Oh, now I am lecturing. To look at me, I'm quite jolly. But I have such a longing to shout at the top of my voice, to run away to the ends of the earth. There's no one I can complain to. I even want to cry. You may say, you have your daughters. But what are daughters? I speak to them, they only laugh. My wife has 7 daughters. Oh, I'm sorry, I believe only 6. I'm sure it's 7. And the eldest is 27, the youngest 17. Ladies and gentlemen, I am miserable. But after all, you see before you the happiest of fathers. After all, it ought to be that way, and I dare not say it is not. But if you only knew, I have lived with my wife for 33 years. And I can say those were the best years of my life. It's not precisely the best. But generally speaking, they have passed in a word like one happy moment. Strictly speaking, curse them all! But she's not come yet. Therefore I may say what I like. I'm terribly afraid. I'm afraid when she looks at me. Well, as I was just saying, my daughters don't get married. Probably because they're shy. And also because men never have a chance of seeing them. My wife doesn't want to give parties. She never invites anyone to dinner. She is a stingy, ill-tempered, quarrelsome lady, and therefore no one comes to the house. But I can tell you, in confidence, my wife's daughters can be seen on great feast days at the house of their aunt, Natalie Semyonovna. The very same lady who suffers from rheumatism, always wears a yellow dress with black spots, so she would cover all over with black beetles. There you get real food. And if my wife happens not to be there, you can also... I must admit, I get drunk on 1 wine glass. And on account of that, I feel so happy. And at the same time, so sad. I can't describe it to you. I then recall my youth. And for some reason I long to run away, to run right away. Oh, if you only knew how I long to do it, to run away, to leave everything behind, to run without ever looking back. Where to? It doesn't matter where, provided I could run away from that vile, mean, cheap life which just turned me into a miserable old fool, into a miserable old idiot. To run away from that stupid, petty, spiteful, malicious miser, my wife, who has been tormenting me for 33 years, to run away from the music, from the kitchen, from my wife's money affairs, from all those trifles and banalities, to run and then to stop somewhere far, far away in a field, and to stand stock still like a tree, like a post, like a scarecrow, under the wide heaven, and to gaze all night long at the still bright moon over my head, and to forget, ooh, how I long not to remember. How I long to tear off this shabby old coat which 33 years ago I wore at my wedding, in which I always give lectures for charitable causes. Take that! And that! I want nothing. I am old, poor, wretched, like this coat, with its ragged, shaggy lining. I am better and cleaner than that. I was once young. I studied at the university. I had dreams. Considered myself a man. And now I want nothing. Nothing but rest. Rest. My wife has come. She's waiting for me. The time is now over. If she asks you, please, I implore you, tell her that the lecture was that scarecrow, that myself behaved with dignity. Starting from the premise that tobacco contains a terrible poison of which I have just spoken. Smoking should in no circumstances be permitted, and I venture to hope, so to say, that this, my lecture on the harmfulness of tobacco, would be of some profit to you. I